You need to provide username, password, and relevant thumbprint for the ESXi. So each and every command required again and again password, username, thumbprint of the ESXi. Then only it will show to you the command-based output in the console. And second method, because of you do not have just one ESXi, you have several ESXi. And sometimes you need to perform the CLI command line management in one ESXi, in multiple ESXi. So that's way we have another method, digital certificate authentication. Since we know very well, within this vCenter server, you have all the ESXi already registered. So it means what? One time prove your identity for the vCenter server, and you are allowed to pass any CLI against any ESXi host, because vCenter server can contain all ESXi hosts. So vCenter server, because of is the first main component where you need to log in to manage entire vSphere stack. So separately per ESXi host, we do not need to prove our identity again and again, username, password, and the thumbprints, means certificate of vCenter server. So one time only prove your identity to the vCenter server, then run any command against any targeted ESXi host. And third method we have, we're still using username, password, thumbprint. What that we're gonna save in our credential store, where you have installed these packages in the same machine. Only one time provide username, password, certificate of the ESXi host or vCenter server. It save you, sorry, not vCenter, but ESXi host certificate, username, password. It saved that all information in the credential store. So it means next time you again making a same ESXi host as your target, it will not prompt for the after every new commands, we do not need to provide our credential. So this is the example of your manual ESXi authentication, the very first methods. So very first method, how we're going to use ESX CLI, where we installed this package. You can see easily we can identify this as a Windows machine. ESX CLI -s stand servers, then the FQDN of ESXi host. Then this is the command, hardware CPU list. ESX CLI hardware CPU list. This is actually the command. This one, hardware CPU list. After that, you can see you are also providing this ESXi01 certificate, this ESXi01 based certificate. And this is only one command. If you want to run second command, again you need to provide server name, certificate. And here you can see along with username, password. So ESX CLI -s server name, server your ESXi host, U stand username, P stand password, and D stand your certificate. And then at the last, hardware CPU list. The output, it will show to you all the CPU code. You have 4 core, it will show to you one by one, CPU 0, CPU 1, CPU 2, like that. And it's all the features. But this is not good, because even same ESXi, you want to execute second command, you again need to mention the same server name, username, password. In each and every command separately, we need to mention this credential. So we can use the second method, digital certificate authentication. When using digital certificate authentication, you must download certificate authority, digital certificate that vCenter server using. vCenter server using self-signed certificate, use that, or vCenter server obtain its own certificate from the CA server. Whatever certificate vCenter server using, use that. We can use that. Most ESXi host and vCenter server instance use a CA built in into the V. We have, since your 6.x, we have CA feature built in your vCenter server. Procedures for downloading certificate and installing it vary depending on the operating system that standalone ESXi hosted on. ESXi where you keep in the Linux or in the Windows machine. So while using this, but method is not manual, method is obtain the vCenter server certificate one time, provide your username certificate, and then you can make your targeted any ESXi which is registered under the vCenter server. The certificate files username password of the vCenter server instance. So one time provide your identity against vCenter server by using vCenter server certificate, and all the registered added ESXi, you can make your target against which ESXi you want to now run the commands. And third method, we also can use credential store. You can add username, password, and certificate of ESXi in the credential store. So where is the credential store? So that depends. It could be your Windows machine. If it is the Windows machine, so this is the location where it keep all the credential. Or if it is a Linux, then in this directory, it will keep your that information. And another tools we also can use, except then ESXi. Last three method what we discussed, that is only for the ESXi. And here we have another tools called DCLI, Data Center CLI Management. So data center means where we can have data centers only in the vCenter server. So if you are even using this one, digital certificate authentication, provide vCenter server certificate, but by using ESXi, you cannot retrieve any information from the vCenter server. No. So you have ESXi only to retrieve information from the ESXi hypervisor. But whether you're going to directly provide your username, password, ESXi certificate, or through vCenter server, provide your username, password, vCenter certificate, and vCenter server redirect your, that's it, 0201. So you making your target, first of all, vCenter server, prove your identity, then you can make your target one of the ESXi host where you can execute these commands. But by using ESXi, you cannot get any output from the vCenter server. No, ESXi gives you the output only against ESXi. So then, what about vCenter server? For vCenter server, you can use separate CLI. That is called DCLI, Data Center Command Line Management. So data center where we can create in the vCenter server. So DCLI communicate with vCenter server system and report information at the vCenter server. So vCenter server level information to command line you want to retrieve, you can use the DCLI. And DCLI commands talks to vSphere Automation SDK endpoint to locate relevant information and then run the commands and display result to the users. And you can run DCLI commands interactively or in a script manners. Interactively means it automatically prompts. Just need to type the commands, it automatically prompt for the other remaining commands. You're going to see the example how we can use it. Run DCLI commands locally from the vCenter server client cell also. You can connect to the vCenter server through PuTTY, or just it is running as a virtual machine. Right click, open console, and directly you can get its local vCenter client cell where you can run the same commands. Additionally, we can download this DCLI separate package and install in our laptop. In your laptop, you might have Linux or Windows machine, or we can make one jump box in your data centers with the Linux or Windows machines, where we install this DCLI. So remotely we can connect to this jump box, and we can use now this DCLI to interact directly with the vCenter server in order to retrieve information from the vCenter server. In this jump box, we need to install this DCLI package. While in interactive mode, DCLI can prompt you from the command options. So DCLI authentications, different way we have. Most DCLI commands require authentication. VMC on AWS. Let me know how many of you are aware about this service or this service.
I've heard about VMware Cloud on AWS, but not worked on that.
Okay. So actually, see, while we're working in a public cloud, so working in a public cloud is not easy. You need a special skill, right? And even you get this additional skill, how you can work in a public cloud, but suppose you have an on-prem environment and some workload you want to move from your on-premise to public cloud. But in a public cloud, we do not know the backend infrastructure. The cloud vendor never exposed its backend infrastructure, what kind of hypervisor they are using, what kind of technology they're using. You can just see your virtual machine. Virtual machine running in which platform, we do not know. And we have many application server. First of all, we need to see whether this application is compatible to run in a public cloud like Azure, AWS or not. But by using this VMC on AWS, you have great advantage as a vSphere guy. As a vSphere admin, you have a long experience, let's say 2 to 20 years experience you have in a vSphere. You know very well what vSphere components, vCenter, ESXi, how to manage its resources. And VMC on AWS is one of the VMware cloud services. What the VMware has its tie-up with the AWS, they are using hardware of AWS. On the top of hardware, they use its own software stack in the form of vSphere. So you have vSphere in on-prem environment, you have vSphere on public cloud. So the first big advantage, your IT team immediately feel very confident while working in a public cloud, because in a public cloud, you just need to make them aware how they can access the cloud portal. Once they access the cloud portal, they can see inside same vCenter server, whatever vCenter server they are using on on-prem environment, same vCenter, whatever ESXi hypervisor they're using in an on-prem environment, they have same ESXi. So if you get the same components whom you working for last 2 years to 10 years, 15 years, you feel very, very comfortable, confident how we can work. That is what you're doing for a long time in your on-prem environment, and you just need to make a link between, and you start moving the workload And there is no compatibility issue because whatever workload you are using, the same infrastructure we get in the public cloud. So there is no compatibility issue, hardware related any problems. You can just simply you can link both the data center and you can do the vMotion, migrate a virtual machine live from your on-premise to public cloud. So this is what the VMC on AWS. You have 4 days separate training for that. NSX, actually, when you get this VMC on AWS, you just not getting vSphere, you're getting also vSAN data store, NSXT, which means all kind of networking we get from this NSX. Layer 2 network, because in a vSphere environment, we know we have a vSphere standard switch, vSphere distributed switch, but if you are using NSX, then you have one more type of switch. It is called logical switch. Logical switch, logical router, logical firewall. These three things we get from this NSX. So if they're saying here what different authentication method we use for VMC on AWS or NSX backed data centers. VMC on AWS, NSX data center both use the refresh token, refresh or you can say access token, perform the authentication. After you provide refresh token, DCLI asks whether you want to save it to the credential store. If you save the refresh token in the credential store, you do not need to provide each time you connect to VMC on AWS or NSX backed data center your credential. So they're saying VMC on AWS, NSX also does the same thing. One time only prove your identity. That identity certificates in the form of token. We need to save in the credential store. Next time, it allows to you directly connect to your VMC on AWS or NSX services. So DCLI supports storing multiple refresh token because multiple admin want to gain access in the credential store, and each refresh token stored in credential stores also keep information about users organization ID, because in VMC on AWS we have a concept of create organization, create honor user account, and it automatically generates the organization ID. So when you generate a support ticket, that time we must need to provide our organization ID. So based upon organization ID, they can recognize us. So they can recognize us and automatically comes to know what are the ESXi components belongs to this particular customers. You can authenticate to vCenter server by providing a username and password. If you save username password in the credential store, you do not need to provide credential each time when you want to connect to the vCenter server. So how DCLI looks like and how we can use it. So you can run this command. Suppose we install it in the Windows operating system. DCLI plus symbol interactive plus symbol server, then vCenter server name, and the location of the certificate where you keep this certificate in which directory. And this way we can or if a certificate right now you want to skip, then additional parameter you can use plus skip server verification. Do not check the certificate, just check the username password and provide the authentication. And then after, how we can use multiple commands. So you can see whenever you run the commands, after you connect with or without certificate, you must still enter login credential. So certificate is not mandatory. If you do not want to provide a certificate, this additional command you can use. Or you have a certificate, you want to use it, then you can provide these commands, username, passwords, and then it's going to save this credential in the credential store. Are you going to save it? Yes or no? It depends. You can list Then vCenter server level management you can do. You want to list, you want to add something, you want to remove. You can see that we have these kind of command: DCLI credential store, credential store add, credential store file, credential store list, or credential store remove. Existing credential you want to remove, or additional user want to add its own credential also to the credential store. You want to see all the existing credential in the credential store. And suppose I'm going to retrieve some information from my data centers. So VMware, vCenter, data stores. Then after, I don't know what I should write, it automatically show to you. So out of these three, anyone you can pick up. Default policy, get list. So you can say get, you can say list, it will show to you all the data store which are available for all hypervisor, which are registered in this vCenter server. VMware vCenter server data store list. And see, if you hold your mouse pointer at here, vCenter, this commands, it will show to you what other possibility. Instead of vCenter, you can pick up this lines, content, vstate, CIS. Automatically show to you when you hold your mouse pointer anywhere, it will show to you what are other possible option we can use. And you can use tab key to auto complete the word. You just like, let's say AP, hit the tab, it automatically take up lines. So each methods of running CLI based command has advantages and disadvantages depending on the situation. We can use the direct control, last alternate. If you lost the management network to the ESXi, if you lost management network to the ESXi, so you cannot connect to ESXi through vCenter, through host client, through SSH. So this is the last alternate you have. Then use your direct console DCLI, direct console access. Use SSH if ESXi up and management network is available. If management network available for ESXi host, we can use mPutty or Putty to make a direct SSH connect, and we can run some commands. Use standalone ESX CLI packages when you require single command line platform to communicate remotely with all your ESXi host and vCenter server. Your SSH one-to-one, one SSH connection from your end to one ESXi at a time. If you want to switch, you need to prepare multiple SSH connection, one SSH connection to ESXi. For ESXi, one SSH connection we need to maintain. So that's why you can use alternatively ESX CLI, and through ESX CLI, you can manage multiple ESXi from the single session. Use ESX CLI as a command line tool to manage and report the configurations of any ESXi host, including hardware informations. ESX CLI scope is limited to the single ESXi host, but server that has standalone ESXi installed can be configured to connect and manage all ESXi hosts in your network. So for that purpose, you need to make initially your target is vCenter server. One time prove your identity to the vCenter server, then it allows to you to manage from single ESX CLI multiple from single console multiple ESXi. And DCLI only retrieve vCenter server information. We also have one great tool known as Power CLI. And this tool's very user friendly, because even you don't know how to use, it will return the help with a good example. And through the example, we can learn, we can run it. And you have many scripts you can find even in online, or most of the VMware solutions support this Power CLI, and it is based upon the Microsoft PowerShell. If you are already working with Microsoft Windows PowerShell, you feel very comfortable while you start working with a Power CLI. And Power CLI is one extension which works along with your Microsoft PowerShell. So first, we must need Microsoft PowerShell. On the top of Microsoft PowerShell, we need to separately install the vSphere Power CLI, and it will gives you 700 commands you can run. And it has a functions library, can be called by the realized orchestrator for automations purpose. And see, most of the VMware solution use this Power CLI. And if you have a little bit experience with it, so you feel very comfortable while you're using. So this vSphere Power CLI works based upon the verb and noun. You can create many variables where you can keep the long, you can store the long information. Let's say I want to call the vCenter server FQDN. So SA hyphen VC hyphen 01 dot vclass dot local. I create a one variable, let's say VC host, and in that noun I put this long names. And whenever I want to use this long names, I just call this noun like VC host. So whenever you call VC host, it means you are calling the FQDN of vCenter server. So how we can use this Power CLI? Example, you can see something you want to retrieve existing information. So the command always start with a get parameters. Get, then you can even press enter or tabs. It will show to you all possible options. Get data store, get VMs, get folder, like that. Get VM post. Something you want to create new. So the command begins with new data store, new switch, new virtual machine. And existing parameter you want to modify, so the command begins as a set hyphen VM. So some existing attribute configuration at the VM level, we're going to modify. And whenever you want to do migration, it could be a cold migration, live migrations, move VM, remove VM. Just like you are going to perform action, right click on a VM, remove from disk on the vCenter server, remove VMs. So first of all, you need to make a connection, and by using this vSphere Power CLI, you can connect to the ESXi either directly or to the vCenter server, both way. So here, how we can connect to vCenter or ESXi? Just type CON, hit the tab, it automatically pick up the commands. CONN, hit tab, it automatically pick up this. You do not need to manually write all. Then this is, of course, we need to manually type. It could be your ESXi FQDN or vCenter FQDN. Then after this, you can even hit enter. It will automatically prompt for the username, where you can provide username, then it automatically prompt for the password, or in a one line, you can provide all the information. Username and hyphen password. It will allow to you to connect to vCenter server. So you are now sitting inside the VM connected to the vCenter server. So now you can run these commands, all commands. Get VMs, get VM host, to see all the VMs, all the data stores. Get VM host. You can see it will show to you list of all registered ESXi host. 1, 2, 3. Status is connected, power state is on, and you can see number of CPU in megahertz, memory or CPU status is also you can see. Or particular host you want to access. You get VM host name and then the name of the ESXi host, particular ESXi I want to see. Using show command. Using Windows PowerShell show command cmd-let, you can run vSphere PowerShell cmd such as get VM in the command line Windows if you want. And this is what we're going to see in the lab 3. How we can use this ESX CLI, load the digital certificate of your vCenter server and test it in the commands, and then add credential and certificate in the ESX CLI commands, and DCLI how we can use to connect and retrieve the information from the vCenter server. So now till lab third we need to complete before we go ahead. Any questions? And you really do not need to skip any single labs. As I explained, we have more labs, less theory, because in this course we expect from the audience they already done the vSphere ICM. So that's why you can see less theory, more labs. And labs are important. Then only you're going to learn some troubleshooting skills, how we can use. So without missing any lab, please complete your all lab 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 people only completed the lab 1 and lab 2. Remaining all must need to complete lab 1, lab 2 and lab 3. Once you're done, please update me in the chat box so we can start the next lesson. Yes, don't forget to update in the chat box.